Example 5. Using the quadratic formula with real solutions. We want to solve x squared minus 4x equals negative 2 using the quadratic formula. So the first thing we need to do is we need to write this in standard form, which is x squared minus 4x, and then we need to add the 2 to both sides and set that equal to 0. So we get x squared minus 4x plus 2, which is equal to 0. Okay, now remember that the standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So we need to know what a, b, and c is in order for us to use the quadratic formula. So for step number 2, we can see that a is the leading coefficient is 1. The value of b is equal to negative 4. And the value of c is equal to positive 2. Now recall what the quadratic formula states. It's going to be x, which is equal to negative b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So now what we're going to do is we're going to plug in those values to use the quadratic formula. So x is going to equal negative b. Well, the value of b is negative 4, so that's a negative times a negative 4 plus or minus the value of b is negative 4, and then we have to square it. And then minus 4 times the value of a, which is 1, times the value of c, which is 2. And then we're going to divide that by 2 times a, which is 1. Now if we extend this a little further, a negative times a negative 4 gives us a positive 4, plus or minus the square root of, well, negative 4 squared. That means negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. And then minus 4 times 1 times 2 is minus 8. And then 2 times 1 is going to give us 2. So now we have 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 8, which is 2, divided by 2. So now we need to simplify the square root of 8. And so recall that the square root of 8 is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 cubed, which is the same thing as factoring out 2 squared times the square root of 2. And so therefore that would be 2 times the square root of 2. So that's going to equal 4 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 2 over 2. So now what we want to do is write out that solution. So for step number 5, we know that we have x, which is equal to 4 over 2 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 2 over 2. And we can simplify that even more, because 4 divided by 2 is going to give us 2, plus we know that, or plus or minus, this is 2 divided by 2, which leaves us the square root of 2. So now we have our solutions. So this can either be 2 minus the square root of 2, 2 plus the square root of 2, or 2 plus or minus the square root of 2. And as you can see here, these are real solutions, and the reason why they're real solutions is because it doesn't have an imaginary solution, and we did not get a negative under the radical sign. So therefore these are considered real solutions.